Hello, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the 10th episode of a story in which 10-year-old Naruto meets Minato from future and that turns Naruto's life upside down. As Naruto lives a happy life in which he is trained by Minato and later Kushina too. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. To begin, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the party started. Naruto and his father landed in a clearing, at one of the forests of Fire Country's borders. "Dad, why we're not coming back to Konoha with the others? I'm going to miss classes," said Naruto. "Don't worry, Naruto, it won't interfere with your studies. You have already surpassed all your classmates and even those from the upper class," responded Minato while he unsealed camping equipment from a scroll. "Really? Are you going to teach me some jutsus?" asked Naruto happily. Minato negated with his head. "No, we are just going to be on vacations outside Konoha. I asked the Hokage for a week off duty," responded Minato taking off his mask. "Holidays? That's great. But why we just don't wait until they start at the academy?" asked Naruto a bit stranged. "I also wanted that. But the actual circumstances changed my agenda," said Minato. Naruto noticed that something was bothering his father. "Dad, what's going on? You are worried for something?" asked the boy. "You are right, Naruto. I was planning I'm taking you to have a trip across Fire Country since you told me that you never got out from the village before. I just had to bring forward my plans because this could be one of our last chances to do it," said Minato with a sad smile. "Why?" asked Naruto puzzled. "Son, Akatsuki began to move earlier than the original timeline. They went after Gaara almost 5 years earlier. We were lucky to be in sooner when that happened. We could intercept the enemy and save Gaara only because I knew where they were heading for the extraction," said Minato. Naruto didn't say anything. Yes, it was a real stroke of luck. Minato continued talking. "We also managed to defeat 2 of them and gain a new ally with the Namikaze Kage. Shikamaru deducted that Akatsuki won't move for a while until they recover from the losses of Sasori and Kaoru. For that reason I chose to have this little trip with you now. I'm very sorry, but until you become a Jonin you will have to stay within the village when we return to Konoha. Later it will be too risky to take you out with Akatsuki active," said Minato a bit sad. Nor Kushina nor him didn't want to have Naruto confined in Konoha as a prisoner, but his security was first. To their surprise, Minato saw that Naruto was not as affected as he feared. "It won't be a problem, Dad. When we came I'll just have to ask Hiruka for another test and I'll be a Jonin ready to take missions," said Naruto with a happy grin. Minato smiled at his son's antics. "Naruto, you are 10 years old, about to be 11 in a few weeks. You can wait to graduate with your classmates. If you graduate now, said missions will diminish your training time. Not only that, but you will be transferred to a team with strangers older than you instead of a team with some of your friends," reasoned Minato. "However, I be that it would be better than his team in the other timeline," commented Kushina. Naruto imagined himself with a pair of older ninja complaining about babysitting the fresh Jonin and realized that his father was right. "I didn't thought about that. Okay, I'll wait a little. Now let's have some fun," exclaimed like nothing happened. "That's the way, Naruto," cheered Kushina. "I'm relieved to see that you took it so well. Before we begin with our vacations I want to ask you a pair of questions that have been bothering me since your combat against Shukaku," said Minato. "What do you want to know?" said Naruto abandoning his happy mood. He felt chills on his spine whenever he reminded that beast. "Why you didn't use the special kunai that I gave you after we were attacked in Konoha? I would have come to help you," said Minato. Naruto looked at the ground for a few seconds with a blank. I bet that he forgot about it. Now he will slap his forehead and complain about his bad memory with a smile, thought Minato. His son's response surprised him. "I was not aware that I was in danger, I only wanted to save Gaara. The kunai never appear in my mind," said the boy. Minato ruffled Naruto's hair. "You are just like your mother, always thinking about the others before yourself," said in a warm tone. "I hope that this will teach you to not to have false preconceptions about Naruto-kun," said Kushina in reprimand tone. "Don't act like that, I know that you also forgot about the kunai," teased Minato. Kushina stuck her tongue as response. With a smile, Minato focused his attention to Naruto. "Talking about kunais. In the combat against Shukaku you used a new technique named Kunai Rasengan, could you show it to me?" asked Minato. "Sure," exclaimed Naruto happily. He was wanting to show his new technique to his father since he created it. Naruto looked at a rock that would be a perfect target and made the hand sign of his signature move. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," exclaimed creating a clone. The clone began to form Rasengan in the tip of the kunai that the real Naruto held while his parents looked in awe at the process. Then Naruto threw the kunai towards the rock, destroying it. Minato was speechless. His 10-year son managed to improve an A-class jutsu, turning it into a range attack. He never was so impressed since Naruto showed him his propulsion seal that turned kunais into more lethal weapons. Minato put his hands on Naruto's shoulders. That's amazing. You suppressed one of the Rasengan's weaknesses, the range," exclaimed with pride in his eyes before hugging him. "It was nothing, Dad. In fact, I'm surprised that anyone had the idea of using a henge," said Naruto, enjoying the hug. Those words puzzled Minato. "What do you want to say with a henge, Naruto?" asked Minato. "The henge of the second clone, of course," said Naruto. "Second clone? You didn't see him henged? Let me show how the technique works," said Naruto. The boy created 2 clones, then one of the clones used henge to turn into a kunai that the real Naruto held while the other clone formed a Rasengan in the tip. Minato had his eyes completely opened. "I still need to improve my chakra control to create a Rasengan while I'm henged into a kunai, but soon I will be able to do it and accelerate the attack," commented Naruto before throwing the kunai toward a rock. Minato had no words. Naruto was right. It was surprising that none of the other Rasengan users had the idea of using a henge. And the best of all is that the technique is more lethal than if he used a real kunai. An experienced ninja could dodge the kunai Rasengan unaware that said kunai could turn into a Naruto with the Rasengan in hand, catching him off guard, commented Kushina. Minato nodded at Kushina's words when he realized why nobody had the idea before. The clone disguised as a kunai was thrown like he was a real kunai. Henge was just an illusion. It was not supposed to do that. "What are you talking about? Henge lets someone turn into other persons and things," said Kushina. "No, henge is an academic-level jutsu. It is just an illusion to disguise the user. It can't give the user the shape or the weight of the mimicked object. That would be a true shape-shifting technique. Those shifting techniques usually are limited to a unique form, like the Jujin Bunshine, beast-human clone, of the Inuzukas that turns the dog into double of its partner, or the henge, Kongen Yai, transformation, adamantine staff, of King Enma that transforms him into a legendary weapon," explained Minato. Really? It is not supposed to give the user the properties of the mimicked thing?" asked Kushina, puzzled. "No, it isn't," responded Minato. "Then how could Naruto or myself do this?" asked Kushina while she filled Minato's mind with her memories of the Naruto of the future and some of hers while she was alive. Minato watched the first battle against Zabuza with Naruto turning into a Fuuma Shuriken and being thrown at the same time as a real one by Sasuke, with the Shuriken Naruto hidden in the real one's shadow. "That's impossible unless both shurikens had the same shape and weight," thought Minato. Then he saw Naruto's battle against Gaara, where Naruto used a combined henge with Gamabunda turning into a copy of the Kyuubi. Minato saw how the fox tore off trees with his tails while he grabbed Shukaku with his claws. No wonder that Gamabunda couldn't learn the henge. He thought that it was a true shape-shifting, thought Minato. Minato saw more battles where Naruto surprised his enemies with impossible uses of the henge, including when he tricked Pain in their battle. Finally, Minato saw Kushina's memories when she was alive and she used the henge. He noticed that she acquired the mimicked person's features and the very high cost of chakra that the jutsu had. "Kushina, how did you learn henge?" asked Minato. "I learned it from one of the scrolls I brought from Whirlpool, but said scroll had its sheath broken and half words were illegible because the humidity. It took me a hell to learn it," said Kushina. Naruto looked puzzled at his father. He was standing there without saying anything. "Dad, are you alright?" asked. Sorry, Naruto. "Yes, I am fine. Tell me, did you pay attention in class when Iruka explained the properties of the henge?" asked Minato. "Well, I didn't pay much attention. Usually I took a nap during those boring explanations. I was the last one of my class to master that technique. It didn't begin to work fine until I began to pump a lot of chakra into the jutsu," said Naruto, a bit ashamed. Suddenly Minato began to laugh like he was told the world's funniest joke. Naruto looked a bit annoyed. "What's going on, Dad? What is so funny?" "It took me a lot of work to do the jutsu properly," exclaimed. Minato calmed down a little. "I'm not laughing about that. I just found out that you created by accident a Jonin level jutsu trying to do one for academy students," proclaimed Minato. "What?" asked Naruto. Minato explained him how the henge was supposed to work and remarking the fact that a jutsu able to alter shape, size and weight was too powerful and had a prohibitive chakra cost to be taught at the academy. Naruto and Kushina were speechless. They had another super powerful technique without knowing it. "Yes. I'm a genius. I can't wait to come back to Konoha and show everybody my true henge, exclaimed the boy. I think that it will be better if you keep this technique as a secret. The normal henge is a technique used for deception, yours is that and more. A good ninja must keep his best techniques in secret so his future rivals won't know about them and have a strategy to counter it, explained Minato. Yes, you are right. Can I tell it to my closest friends at least, so they will know what I'm capable of? Asked Naruto, calming down. Yes, you can as long as they promise to keep it secret. The Hokage will be very pleased when we tell him. Now let's go to work, said Minato. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. The fact that you have a better version of the jutsu doesn't matter, the truth is that you don't know how to do an academic jutsu that you are supposed to know. Create some clones, I'm going to teach you the basic henge while you teach me the true henge, explained Minato. Naruto reminded when his father made him learn the basic Bunshin. His father told him that he would never be a good Hokage if he was not able to do one of the most basic jutsus. Yes, Dad. I mean Sensei, said Naruto, passing to student mode while he creates some clones. Naruto and Minato spent the rest of the morning learning from each other. At afternoon, Naruto finally managed to perform the Academy henge thanks to the use of Kage Bunshins and the better chakra control that he acquired with his training. Minato also managed to do the true henge thanks to Kushina's memories performing the jutsu. The stomachs said them that it was lunchtime. What are going to do, Dad? We didn't bring supplies of food and we didn't have time for hunting, commented Naruto. Minato took one of his various scrolls. Don't worry about that. Here's a little surprise I prepared when we left Konoha, said the older Uzumaki while he unsealed the contents. Naruto looked amazed at his father's surprise, 2 dozens of takeaway ramen bowls from Ichiraku's, still hot and steaming. The boy took one of the bowls and began to eat his contents while his father did the same. How, Munch, you managed, slurp, to keep them like, nyam, they were recently made, asked while eating. Don't talk while your mouth is full. The truth is that they are recently made, it is an advanced sealing method where the sealed things are in an ecstasy state, time doesn't run for them. This method is only a bit harder than the standard sealing but requires prohibitive amounts of chakra, for this reason most veteran ninjas prefer ration bars instead of sealing their food. With this sealing method I can seal living beings, those creatures won't age, if they are unsealed only a few seconds would have passed for them no matter if they have been sealed centuries ago, explained Minato before focusing his attention back to his ramen. This is what happens with the mouse that you have sealed for interrogation purposes, isn't? Asked Naruto. Minato nodded. Yes, it is. Because the time-stopping property of this method, the sealer can also seal things that in theory couldn't be sealed like fire or lighting, commented Minato while he made good account of another bowl. Naruto noticed that his father was enjoying ramen as much as him. The boy knew that ramen was one of his favorite dishes but never saw him taking so much delight eating. It was like his father was having ramen for first time in decades. He didn't know how precise was his guess. It's delicious. I miss the miso ramen so much. Now let's try the beef one, said Kushina in delight. If we knew before that we could use our bond to share all my senses with you, I would have gone to Ichiraku's every day, commented Minato. I think the same. Now I hope that you two will have ramen with more frequency, and sweets and ice creams. I'm not telling you to abandon your healthy diet but should have more tastier food now, said Kushina blinking her eye. Don't worry Kushi-chan, we will. Can I ask a question? Why don't you want to share my senses whenever I hug Naruto or I'm near him? I know that you really want to do it but you cut the connection when this is about to happen, asked Minato. Kushina didn't say anything for a few moments. I would sell my soul for being able to hug our son, having him in my arms. You don't know how much I miss that. It was the first thing that appeared in my mind since we discovered that we could do the sharing, said her in a sad tone. She wrapped her arms around herself. But I wouldn't be embracing him with my arms, I would be doing with yours. I just want to do it with my own arms, the ones that you promised me. I want our Naruto to know what it is being embraced by a mother. Do you think that I'm being stupid for not doing it now? Asked with a faint smile. Minato embraced her in a caring way, just like he used to do when she was pregnant and thought that she didn't look attractive and she told him that she was more beautiful than ever. Now thanks to their bond Kushina knows that he really meant it. No, Kushi-chan. I think that you are very brave to wait for being alive again. I don't know if I would have done the same if I was in the same situation as yours. You'll embrace our son very soon. My clones and Konoha are very near to complete the preparations for the process. I almost can see it complete. Before you realize it, you will reunite with Naruto, said Minato giving her a tenderly kiss. Naruto looked a bit strange how his father was smiling looking to nowhere in particular. He must be thinking about something good, thought. After they finished their lunch, they made a water walking spa in a nearby pond and later they got into the forest in order to hunt their dinner. They managed to catch a pair of rabbits and also some fishes in the lake. Minato mounted the tent while Naruto roasted their pieces and later they chatted about inconsequential things while they took dinner. When they finished, Minato looked for a while at the fire until he noticed something at his shoulder. Naruto fell asleep and was now leaning his head on his father's shoulder. Minato smiled and took off his cloak to cover Naruto. The Hokage realized that it was one of the happiest days of his life. Next day Aoi attacked with the Raijin at the masked Konoha ninja, who blocked the Nidime sword like it was nothing using a tri-pronged kunai that was focusing wind chakra. The traitorous ex-Konoha ninja growled. Months ago he tricked Morino Iviki's younger brother, Itaide, to make him steal the scroll of forbidden jutsus and the Nidime sword, the Raijin. Aoi then took Konoha's treasures to Amigakura where they prepared an ambush where they captured Iviki. Aoi did all that he knew to break Iviki's spirit, but the Konoha's interrogator not only knew how to inflict torture, he also knew how to resist it. At the end Aoi only managed to inflict Iviki some wounds that would left Iviki scarred for a life but his spirit intact. Then Iviki managed to escape with the scroll, making a headbutt that left a huge scar in Aoi's forehead. It disappeared without trace. Now the new Ame Jonin was facing Konoha's infamous Black Angel, who was passing by there with his son, the QB brat Nonless, just when he was doing his first C-class missions with his team of Genins. The Arashi attacked him after saying to his son to incapacitate his students. Aoi would have laughed to Arashi for sending his son to an assured death, but the Konoha Jonin attacked him first. Aoi tried to make another strike with the Raijin when he noticed that he couldn't move because somebody was grabbing him. Few Uden clones are very useful, aren't they? Now I'll take this, said Arashi while he took the Raijin from Aoi's hand. Naruto, how are you doing against those clowns? Asked Arashi looking away. They were too weak, are you sure that they are Genins? Responded Naruto. Aoi's jaw reached the ground when he saw his students tied and beaten with Naruto sitting atop them. Kushina smiled. She reminded when Naruto beat that group of Amenins by himself during the Chunin exams and made it again when they met at 8. Naruto had no problem defeating them another time, he already did it twice in the future when he was weaker than his actual self and they were stronger than they are now. She got a perverse idea that suggested to Minato who agree with it. Arashi knocked out the immovabilized with a strong blow to the gut. What are we going to do with them, Dad? Asked Naruto. We will just leave the Genins there, this is a very transited road, somebody will free them. We will give Tobirama's sword back to the Hokage when we return to Konoha, said before looking at unconscious Aoi, and I have some special plans for this tricky traitor, said Arashi with an evil smile. Next day they were passing by Kankatsu town. The city was celebrating a festival and they could see various stands across the streets. Look Dad, it's a fair. Can we go, please? Asked Naruto with puppy eyes. At first Minato didn't have planned to stop by the city, but when Kushina sent him some of her memories of Naruto looking sadly at a father and his son when he was in that same fair during Tsunade's quest, Minato's heart melted. The way that Naruto's was looking at him only made his decision easier. Of course, Naruto. We will expend the all day here, said Minato smiling under his mask. Minato saw some parents taking their toddlers on their shoulders and he got an idea. The Hokage took off his mask and used his new true hench to turn into himself with a goatee and civilian clothes. What do you think, Naruto? Do you think that people will recognize me as the Yondaime now that I have facial hair and I'm not dressed as a ninja? Asked Minato. I don't think so, Dad, but it's a bit weird to see you with that small beard, responded Naruto. It's only temporal. Naruto, can you the true hench to turn into yourself when you were 5? Asked Minato. Naruto nodded and performed his jutsu, when the smoke stood Naruto being again a little kid. Why do you want me to be like this? Asked Naruto in a cute voice. Oh my. He is so adorable, squealed Kushina. She had to make a titanic effort to not take possession of Minato's body and hug the chibi Naruto. Minato didn't have to contain himself and took the little Naruto in his arms. I wanted you to be again 5 so you won't be embarrassed when I take you like this, said a smiling Minato sitting Naruto on his shoulders. Dad. I'm too old for this, protested Naruto blushing a little. Not with the age you have now, responded Minato with a mischievous smile. Naruto understood his father's reasoning and decided to enjoy the view on his father's shoulders. Seeing that Naruto was no longer complaining, Minato took him to the fair. They spent all morning playing at the stands, enjoying the rides and cramming themselves with the unhealthy but delicious food of the fair. For the next hours they forgot about Akatsuki, the village there passed and everything else. They were just a father and his son having a good day. Kushina smiled. She never saw Naruto so happy when he had the age that he was pretending to have now. Minato promised that she would be with them next time they came back there. At evening they were staying in an inn with hot spring where one of Minato's demi-clones rented a room for the night. They were no longer under their hinges. Kushina asked Minato to hold it off when she noticed that half women of the city were looking at him with hearts in their eyes. Single fathers with small kids were incredibly attractive. Minato and Naruto were now having a relaxing bath. Minato had a small towel covering his face like a veil as Kakashi did whenever he went to one of these places. They were the only ones who were in the springs with the exception of another man they couldn't see well because the steam. Then they heard some giggles, coming from that man. They approached him to see that he was making a hole in the wall at the women's side with the obvious purpose of peeking at them. "Look, Dad. A pervert," pointed Naruto. Well. Look who is there. I think it's time to revive old times, thought Minato with an evil smile recognizing his sensei. Hey look. It's the legendary Jiraiya, the author of the Icha Icha series. He is peeking at the women's bath in order to make a research for his next book, exclaimed Minato, making sure that the women. Jiraiya turned to face the one who was delating him. You. Can you shut up? You are messing with the very important, said before recognizing the man and the boy. You, exclaimed. Me, responded. Before they could say anything else, they felt a vicious killing intent coming from the women's side. Both men recognized the source of said killing intent. Tsunade-sama. Don't do that, said a feminine voice from the other side of the wall. It can't be. Not her, thought Jiraiya panicking when they saw that somebody was tearing the wall. Jiraiya. I'm going to kill you, exclaimed a woman's voice from the other side while the wall was tiered. Minato and Jiraiya looked how a very attractive woman with blonde hair, dressed only with a towel that barely covered her voluptuous body, held the wall over her head while a black-haired woman, also dressed only with a towel, was trying to convince her to put the wall back to its place. Jiraiya. I told you what would happen if I caught you peeking at me again, roared the slug Sanin at the scared Jiraiya. Suddenly, Tsunade's killing intent ceased when she noticed the other occupants of the male side. One of them was a younger version, the boy who made her believe again in Konoha in the future and convinced her to be the god-I'm Hokage, the one she chose to be her successor as Hokage. The other one was a blonde man that died but came back under extraordinary circumstances in her original timeline, one of her predecessors and the boy's father. The towel covering his face couldn't deceive her, he was Minato Namikaze, the Ondaime Hokage. However, what really caught Tsunade's attention was the huge scar in her teammate's chest, the one he got during the training trip with Naruto, in the future. Tsunade dropped the wall and looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya? You too? Minato glared at the masked Uchiha. He noticed that Madara added a new hole in his mask for his new eye. The other got on guard, ready to attack the traitorous Nin. That's Obito and Kakashi's eye. Damn bastard, I'm going to kill him, thought Minato. Madara noticed the way Minato was looking at the stolen eye. Toby is so happy. Now Toby enjoys the benefits of deep vision. By the way, what happened to the Hokage mountain? Said Madara in an idiotic tone. Tsunade, Shikamaru and Shino looked at Minato for a brief moment. He ignored them. Stop acting like that, Madara, you have some nerve attacking us like this. Really, you think that you can face us all at the same time? Asked Minato, regaining his nerve. Ooh, but I didn't come alone, I brought a pair of friends to play, teased Madara. Shikamaru managed to dodge at the last second an attack from his left side. To his horror, he noticed that he dodged a weapon he never expected to see again. 3 blades that were connected to a chain. What's going on? Have you seen a ghost? Said a familiar voice. The blades receded back to their holder, the infamous side of Jashin's most loyal follower. Really, you thought that some deers would be proper guards? It was a piece of cake for Madara-san to put their simple minds into a genjutsu and unbury me, said Hidan. Shikamaru didn't say anything. He was already making plans to defeat his nemesis, but a part of him was scared. His worst adversary was back. Another part was furious to see his sensei's killer back. As long as you don't let him taste your blood, you will be safe. He also needs some time to prepare his main technique. Apart his inability to die, he is not as powerful as other Akatsuki member, explained to the others. Madara said a pair of friends. Where are the other and who are them? Thought Tsunade. Her question was responded when somebody appeared at Madara's side, a person she never expected to see again. Her teammate and friend, Jiraiya, the Toad Sage. However, the figure who stood there was not the Jiraiya from her memories. While the real Jiraiya was always smiling, this one had an emotionless face. While Jiraiya's eyes were mischievous and full of life, this one's were cold and dead. At first I thought about bringing back the Sandaime too, but I won't take the risk of reviving against somebody whose soul was offered to the god of death and resurrecting him by accident. I thought that Jiraiya would be the perfect choice taking account that you both were emotionally close to him, commented Madara, switching to his serious voice. Now Tsunade knew what her sensei felt when Orochimaru brought back her grandfather and her granduncle and made them attack him. Jiraiya charged towards them with the Rasengan in hand. Madara smiled under his mask, thinking that they wouldn't dare to attack one of their precious people. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, exclaimed Minato, creating a group of clones that charged at Jiraiya. Madara's sweat dropped when he saw that Minato and his clones didn't restrain themselves to attack Jiraiya. Even more, it looked like they were doing it with gusto. The Ondaime is even more ruthless than I thought. Ouch. He severed Jiraiya's legs. Luckily he grows them back almost instantly, thought Madara. His thoughts were interrupted when he noticed Tsunade trying to do an axe kick to him. He used his space alteration technique to let the last Senju pass through him, destroying part of her office. Shino and Kankuro joined her against Madara while Shikamaru and Temari were facing Hidan. Meanwhile Minato took a tag with a seal from one of his scrolls while his clones distracted Jiraiya. I brought here a copy of the seal to counter the Edo Tensei to add it to the Hokage's library. If my theory is correct, then Madara made a terrible mistake reviving Jiraiya, thought the Ondaime. Minato used the Hiraishin to place the tags at Jiraiya's forehead. A great light surrounded the Toad Sanin, almost blinding everyone. When the light ceased, the seal had disappeared and Jiraiya was now looking around him confused until he recognized Tsunade and the others. Tsunade Heim? Is that you? What happened? Did you die too? Asked confused. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya with a mixture of disbelief and hope in her eyes. Jiraiya? Are you really alive? Can't you check it? Asked, containing her emotions. Jiraiya put his hand over his chest. He noticed the heartbeat. It is beating. That means that I am alive? Asked in a confused tone. Minato gave him a punch in the face, taking him away from his state. Ouch. That hurts. What was that for? And who the hell are you? Exclaimed Jiraiya, angry at the masked man with the Konoha symbol. If it hurts, then you are alive. You and I have a lot to talk about. But first we have a work to do. See that guy with the stupid orange mask? He is Akatsuki's true leader, we have to defeat him, said Minato, pointing at a very furious Madara. The Uchiha noticed that the Sand Kunoichi's summons managed to cut Hidan's legs with their fearful scythes, and he saw more Konoha ninjas heading there to join the fray. Madara almost growled. There was no way that he could fight two Sanins and the Yondaime at the same time. He didn't have other option but to use his new Sharingan eye, although he didn't control it as good as he wanted. His Sharingan left eye took its unique shape and a hole in space's fabric began to form over his enemies, absorbing everything around it. They did their best to escape, but the hole grew bigger in an incredible fast rate and the only thing they could do was to grab anything nailed on the floor. To Madara's surprise, he saw that he was also attracted by the hole. He tried to close it but he noticed that he was unable to do it. Then Minato used his technique. In flashback, Jiraiya noticed that Tsunade's attention was focused on his scar. Jiraiya? You too? Asked her. The Toad Sanin understood what Tsunade wanted to ask. She was not the only one who traveled back in time. Jiraiya finally realized it when he recognized the man who was with Naruto in the pic as the one who hit him after he resurrected. How could that happen? Just after that, the one who was labeled as the bad guy opened a hole in space, and before he realized it, he was almost a decade in the past. At first he thought that all those memories from the future were a product of his imagination or part of a very sophisticated genjutsu, but he discarded those ideas. The scar and the esteem he had for Naruto were too real. For that reason he was so furious with the mysterious man. He looked at his teammate, who was in the verge of tears. Hey, Tsunade Heim. I told you that I would return. By the way, nice clothes, joked the man. Tsunade headed to him. He expected that his remark would be responded with a punch in the gut, but he was surprised when Tsunade hugged him. Please, Jiraiya, don't break the moment, okay? Said the woman. Jiraiya nodded and hugged her back. Tsunade-sama, babbled Shizune when she saw that her barely dressed sensei was hugging an also barely dressed man. Minato looked to Naruto, who was looking at the scene confused. We'll better let the two friends who met each other again alone before this turns into a M-rated situation, said to his son, taking him away. I think I'll leave too, said Shizune, leaving the place. Jiraiya and Tsunade stood alone in the bath hugging each other. Then he, and his body, realized that he was being hugged by a Tsunade barely covered by a thin towel. Jiraiya, whispered Tsunade. Yes, Heim? Responded him. For your own good, tell me that you have a kunai hidden in that towel. said in a very creepy tone. Glops. When Naruto and Minato heard Jiraiya's screams from the men's dressing room, they realized that the situation turned M-rated. Later, after healing Jiraiya and dressing themselves, the Sanins headed to the inn's restaurant, that was empty minus Shizune talking with Arashi and Naruto. When the young medic noticed her sensei's presence, she bowed at her. "Forgive me, Tsunade-sensei," said apologized Shizune. "Apologies? For what?" asked Tsunade. "For doubting about you, sensei. When you told me that you came from the future in those stories, I thought that you were turning insane, especially when you began to work offering your services as medic to get enough money to pay your debts and then return to Konoha, where you said that you would never return. I even thought about asking the Sun Daime to get you into a mental institution when we came back," said Shizune, bowing again. Tsunade's sweat dropped. She thought that her apprentice would have more trust in her, but she couldn't blame Shizune for not believing her story. "Apologies accepted. What changed your mind, Shizune?" asked Tsunade. "I had a talk with Yonda, I mean Arashi-san and Naruto-kun, and they confirmed your story, Tsunade-sama," said Shizune. "So he is named Arashi, eh? Why, that name seems familiar," thought Jiraiya. "It looks like you are now taking care of Naruto, Arashi. What were you doing there?" asked Tsunade, looking at them a bit sad. Arashi's presence changed completely her plans for Naruto. "Just taking some holidays so I could spend some time with my son, Tsunade-sama," responded Arashi. Jiraiya was in the verge of freaking out. What? He adopted Naruto? Who's this guy? Tsunade seems to trust him enough to approve this man being Naruto's foster father, thought Jiraiya. "Dad, this is the famous Tsunade you told me about?" asked Naruto. Jiraiya's eye twitched when Naruto called the other man dad. "Sorry, I didn't introduce you yet. Tsunade, this is Naruto, but you already know him. Naruto, this is Senju Tsunade, also known as the Slug Sanin and also as the legendary Sucker. She is Hashirama's granddaughter and the Sandaime's student. She is considered the best medic nin in the world and the most powerful kunoichi in Konoha's story. She becomes the Godime Hokage in the future, doing a brilliant work," said Arashi. Tsunade's ego appreciated Minato's compliments. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Tsunade-sama. You look younger than I thought," said Naruto, bowing. Jiraiya and Tsunade's jaws dropped. Somebody managed to teach Naruto some manners. "Thank you very much, Naruto," responded Tsunade, regaining her composure. "Dad told me that you were an old woman ashamed of her true age, who wasted her money in gambling and drinking like a sailor. He also said that you used to sleep at job, and while you were away from Konoha you were a lamentable medic, scared of blood that was pursued by her debtors until my future self beat some sense into you," said Naruto. Jiraiya and Shizune had to contain her laughs while Tsunade glared at Arashi, who hid behind Naruto. Kushina didn't have to contain herself and was laughing inside Minato's mind. "Ehem. You didn't introduce us," said Jiraiya to Tsunade, referring to Arashi. "Oh, yes. Jiraiya, this is Naruto. Naruto, this is Jiraiya. He is a self-proclaimed super pervert, as I told in the bath. He wrote those books that all perverts love. He was Tsunade's teammate because he was the dead last of his graduation class. He is more interested in making research and turning his students into perverts than teaching them, so don't listen to him unless you want to be a perverted and mediocre ninja," said Arashi in a cold tone. Naruto looked at the Toad Sanin in a suspicious way. Jiraiya had to refrain himself to not jump at the masked ninja and beat him to a pulp for talking about him like that to his godson, especially when said man was looking at him in a challenging tone. "Tsunade, you seem to know this man. Care to introduce me to him, please?" asked Jiraiya with a forced smile. "Of course," said Tsunade, "this is Arashi Uzumaki. He was absent from Konoha for a very long time and joined back after your death. He was a ghost ninja under Yondaime's reign, for that his existence was a top secret and you don't know about him," said Tsunade. "He took the Uzumaki name?" thought Jiraiya, ready to grab Arashi to get some responses from him. Luckily, Tsunade broke the tension and called the waiters for the dinner. The man brought an impressive banquet that they enjoyed. The only drawback were the stares that Arashi and Jiraiya threw at each other. Naruto was the only one who was not aware of that. "Why, there's nobody else in the restaurant. I thought that there would be more people these days with the festival and all," commented Shizune, trying to break the tension. "I hired the entire restaurant so we could talk in private. I also paid the manager for the destroyed wall in the bath," said Arashi. When they finished the dinner, Arashi took the bill. "Are you sure that you can afford this?" "I can pay for my part," said Jiraiya. "Don't worry, Jiraiya-san. I'm not a millionaire writer, but I'm pretty rich myself thanks to my family's fortune and my job as part of an elite squad. It's not like I had to take an orphan's purse to pay for my personal expenses, said Arashi looking at Jiraiya's eyes. That was the drop that filled the cup. Jiraiya got up. You and I need to talk. At the town's outskirts. Now, said to Arashi in a tone that didn't admit replies. Of course, said Arashi getting up. He looked at Naruto. Son, Jiraiya and I are going to have a little chat. Please stay with Tsunade-sama and Shizune-san, okay? Said to Naruto. Okay, Dad, responded Naruto with a smile. Jiraiya's eye twitched again when he saw how his godson and the newcomer were behaving with each other. Who was really that man and how he managed to become Naruto's father with Sarutobi and Tsunade's approval? What happened while he was dead and during last months? And why the man was so hostile to him? He would get his responses from this man even if it was necessary to spill some blood. Jiraiya was right in one thing, blood will be spilled. What he didn't know was that said blood would be his. The beaten form of Jiraiya was on the ground, surrounded by Pain's bodies who looked at him with indifference while Pa was trying to wake him up. Jiraiya always thought that what measured a ninja's value was how said ninja died, not how he lived. He reminded his life, full of failures. An image of Tsunade sending him flying upward of his mind. Tsunade always rejected me. An image of Orochimaru appeared. I couldn't save my best friend. An image of Sarutobi and Minato appeared. I failed protecting my student. And my sensei too. Then he reminded the book he wrote, another failure. Come on, don't say that, sensei, said Minato appearing on his mind. Jiraiya found himself in Konoha, when he visited Minato and Kushina and saw them alive for last time. I think that this story is cool. Each chapter is like a page of your life, sensei, almost an autobiography, said Minato. Jiraiya reminded that he told Minato that the book didn't have any sales, that perhaps he should write porn again. Minato ignored that and continued talking about the book. The way the main character refused to give up and keep fighting until the end was genial. Just like you, sensei, said Minato. Then his student told him how Kushina and him wanted to raise their son as a ninja like the one who appeared in the book. He even said that they decided to name him as the main character of the book. Jiraiya was protesting, that he got the idea of the name when he was having ramen, but Kushina appeared saying that she liked the name. That means that I'm going to be his godfather? Are you sure about that? Asked Jiraiya excited. Absolutely. You are a shinobi with great skill, an example for everyone. I couldn't think for a better shinobi than you, sensei, said Minato. Memories of Naruto appeared in his mind. I'm going to be Hokage someday. The greatest Hokage. I won't go back on my word. That's my ninja way, said Naruto in them. Naruto, you really turned like my book's character. Just as your parents wanted. But Jiraiya found himself facing Orochimaru when they fought during the quest of Tsunade. Jiraiya had problems using his chakra because the drug that Tsunade used of him and Orochimaru couldn't use his arms. Meanwhile Naruto was doing his best to protect the still hemophobic Tsunade from Kabuto without much success. A true ninja is the one who mastered all jutsus in the world. As the word says, a ninja is a warrior who uses ninjutsu, said Orochimaru in an arrogant tone. Jiraiya looked at him with a smirk. You still don't understand it? A ninja is somebody who stands firme and keeps on, no matter what happens. No matter if you know a technique or a million. The most important thing that a shinobi can have, it's the spirit and the guts for never give up, said Jiraiya while Naruto grabbed Kabuto with only one hand and used a Kage Bunshin to perform the Rasengan on the traitorous medic. Jiraiya found himself in the darkness. To never go back on your word. To never give up, no matter the circumstances. That's your ninja way. And I'm supposed to be your sensei. This can't keep like this. Jiraiya began to move, to Fukasaku and Pain's surprise. Because the student's ninja way is also the sensei's, isn't it true, Naruto? Thought Jiraiya while he began to inscribe a code in Fukasaku's back. Yes, I understand perfectly, exclaimed Fukasaku preparing to leave the place. Naruto, you are the child of the prophecy, I was right. I leave the rest to you, thought. Pain's bodies tried to stop Fukasaku. The mechanic Pain shot his fist destroying the floating platform where Jiraiya was, but Fukasaku managed to escape. Jiraiya found himself drowning in the cold waters. Yes, this ending is a bit better. The toad in the well's bottom reacts the ocean. Yes, honorable, fucking honorable. Oh yes. I need a title the next book, let's see. I got it. Naruto Uzumaki's Tale, thought. With that last thoughts in his mind, Jiraiya, the Toad Sani died. End flashback. Jiraiya looked at the mysterious ninja from the future who adopted Naruto, the one who took his rightful place as Naruto's father figure. What really unnerved him was that the masked ninja had the same hostility towards him. Arashi didn't seem to be affected by the fact that Jiraiya was one of the legendary Sannin. Very well, Jiraiya. What do you want? I hope that it won't take too much time. I want to take my son to an excursion tomorrow and I want to get up early, said Arashi. Before he realized it, Jiraiya was at his side radiating killing intent and punched Arashi, sending him some meters apart. TSK, I forgot that Jiraiya is not like my previous adversaries, he is among the few ones who has chances to defeat me, thought Arashi while Jiraiya grabbed him by his jacket's collar. Listen to me. I don't know who are you and how you managed to convince the Hokage to let you adopt Naruto. You don't know the life that the boy endured, I do. If you harm the boy or hurt his feelings in any way, I'll kill you, threatened Jiraiya. The Toad Sannin felt a murderous killing intent from Arashi and that time he was the one sent apart from a punch. Who the hell are you for telling me how to treat Naruto, you traitorous scum? Roared Arashi. Jiraiya got up ready to beat his opponent to a pulp. Me? A traitor? How you dare? If you came from the future you'll know that I will be Naruto's sensei, exclaimed Jiraiya trying to punch Arashi. However this time the masked ninja dodged Jiraiya's attack. I know that, and also that you were Naruto's father and Pain sensei, said Arashi delivering a kick that Jiraiya blocked. What? You know who are Naruto's true parents? Asked Jiraiya. Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. Yes. The student that you betrayed, exclaimed Arashi creating a Rasengan in his hand that tried to use against Jiraiya. Jiraiya overcome the surprise and created his own Rasengan to counter Arashi's. The spinning orbs clashed against each other creating an explosion that sent two opponents apart but unharmed. Both them charged at each at the moment their feet touched the ground. They exchanged blows for a few seconds, analyzing their adversary's fighting style. Jiraiya found Arashi's disturbingly familiar. The fighters split apart from each other. How can you know about Naruto's heritage? The Sandaime told you? Is that the reason because you adopted Naruto? To have access to my students' techniques? Asked Jiraiya. Arashi looked at him. I already knew that technique before your student taught it to you. I'm not a vulture interested in Naruto's inheritance, I'm just doing what his godfather refused to do, said Arashi pointing with an accusatory finger at Jiraiya. The Toad Sage, the thing that he regretted more from his past life was that he didn't was there for Naruto during his first years. When he found out that he retreated back in time he thought that he had a chance to compensate the boy. In fact he was heading to Konoha in order to establish there and adopt Naruto when he found out that somebody anticipated him. Now that person was recriminating him for his mistake. He did what he always did in situations like that, accepting his mistake but without losing his pride. Yes, you are right. I always will regret now being for Naruto during his childhood. But you said it, I'm Naruto's godfather, for that reason I won't let you to utilize him for your own purposes and I will be there for him whenever he needs me, proclaimed Jiraiya. What? It was a pure chakra attack, thought Jiraiya. Be there for him whenever he needs you? That means that you won't take his money as payment for teaching him the Rasengan, his birthright? Oh yes, you have no need to teach him that, I already did, said Arashi throwing some shurikens at Jiraiya. Naruto already knows the Rasengan? Thought Jiraiya while blocking the kunais. Arashi continued his rant, tell me, are you going to ignore him during the previous month of the Chunin exams finals? Having him trying to summon toads during all the month while you peek at girls instead of improving his basics? Asked Arashi. I helped him during that time, protested Jiraiya. Only after he bribed you with his Oiroke no Jutsu. Taking away Orochimaru's seal and teaching him the summoning no Jutsu was good for the first day. What about the remaining days? Oh yes, you thought about teaching him to use the fox's chakra but instead of teaching meditation in order to contact the fox you threw my son through a cliff during the last week of the almost wasted month. Really you think I would let you get near him? You're the main responsible that he didn't make Chunin that time because if you really took interest in his training he would have impressed the judges during his first combat, exclaimed Arashi. Jiraiya didn't say anything, he knew that he could have trained Naruto better when he met him, still he felt a bit angry about how Arashi referred to Naruto like he was his true son. Same happened during those years he was with you, you only trained him during a fraction of the time he was with you. True, he was high Chunin or low Jonin level when he came back, and able to beat a cage if he used the Kyuubi's chakra. But he could have been stronger after that time with you, enough to beat Sasuke after he met him again. And once again he lost a chance to become Chunin thanks to you because he couldn't take the exams while he was away from Konoha, said Arashi. The truth is that I didn't expect all his classmates becoming Chunin during the training trip. I expected that they would wait some time after their first experience. Damn. Most Genins do their first Chunin exam at 16. However this time I will train him in Konoha, "We'll make him the strongest of his class and I will make sure that Sasuke won't leave the village," said Jiraiya. "I already took care of that. I'm increasing Sasuke's bonds with the village and Naruto is now stronger than he was at the time you took him in your trip," said Urashi in an arrogant tone. "What?" exclaimed Jiraiya. The miracles of the Kage Bunshin training any teacher focused on him, nothing impressive. "He even found a way to improve the Rasengan," said Urashi, creating a clone. Jiraiya saw how the clone created a Rasengan on the tip of the kunai. "Behold this, kunai Rasengan," exclaimed Urashi, throwing the projectile towards a rock, destroying it. Jiraiya was too surprised by the attack that he couldn't avoid Urashi's surprise attack that sent him flying some meters apart. He reacted and charged back at Urashi. After some taijutsu fight, Jiraiya realized that Urashi had an impressive level and seemed to know how to counter his attacks, like he was familiar with his style. He decided to switch to ninjutsu only to see how Urashi escaped from all his attacks, knowing the weight escaped from his Kaden and Doden jutsus. Only a teammate that spent years with him or somebody with a Sharingan could know the way to counter his strategies. The Toad Sage decided to finish the combat as quickly as possible in order to interrogate the mysterious man. "Doten, Yomi Numa, Earth Release, Swamp of the Underworld," exclaimed Jiraiya, transforming the land into a large swamp. Jiraiya smiled. Unlike usual swamps, the water walking technique didn't work with swamp created by this jutsu, those who didn't know about it and caught by the dirty waters. Only the creator of the technique could walk in these waters without problem. His smile disappeared when he saw that Urashi was floating in mid-air. "Trying to catch me? I know the secret of that technique. Here, take a consolation prize," said Urashi, throwing a kunai with an explosive tag. The tag exploded, raising a great column of water. Jiraiya evaded the explosion, surprised by the force of the explosion. Urashi threw more kunais with tags that he barely dodged. The water was turning into a disadvantage. He decided to retire the swamp. Urashi landed as soon as the swamp disappeared. Jiraiya saw his chance. "I got you. Kushios, Gamaguchi Shibari, summoning, Toad Mouth Bind," exclaimed Jiraiya, trapping Urashi inside the esophagus of a great fire-breathing toad from Mount Mayuboku. Excellent, only Itachi was able to escape from it and he needed the Amaterasu. "I'll let Urashi out when he agrees to give up and tell me everything," thought Jiraiya. A blur appeared from behind and grabbed him by the ankle. Urashi was flying upwards, grabbing Jiraiya by the ankle. "You don't know that I left a seal outside in order to use it for teleporting myself just in case you used one of your tricks, don't you, sensei?" thought Urashi. "What are you going to do, Minato?" asked Kushina. "Some poetic justice," responded him. Jiraiya thought about using the Hari Jizo, Spiked Jizo, but he discarded the idea when he realized that it would make the ascending Urashi drop him. Urashi stopped when they were in a 1,000-meter altitude. "What are you going to do?" asked Jiraiya. "You threw my son by a cliff, I throw you from 1,000 meters. If the student survived, then the sensei won't be less happy landing," said Urashi, dropping off Jiraiya. The Toad Sage had no time for seeing the irony of the situation. He began to gather nature chakra. While descended, Urashi saw how his sensei crashed to the ground, creating a huge hole. "You killed him," exclaimed Kushina, horrified, looking at the hole. "No, he would head blue like a watermelon, but the hole points that what crashed was more durable than the ground," explained Minato. Urashi landed to see Jiraiya emerging from the hole. His eyes now were yellow with slits like toads. His nose now was bulbous and he had red lines in his face and he had now a beard. Jiraiya was now in sage mode. "If it was not for the training I made during last months, I wouldn't have gathered the nature chakra fast enough. It's ironic, if he had thrown me from a lower altitude I wouldn't have time to survive. It's time to show him how really powerful I am," thought Jiraiya. "I'll have to use it if I want to defeat him in that state. As long as he doesn't have Pa and Ma with him and I don't let him gather chakra, his state will be temporal," thought Urashi. Jiraiya felt the chakra burst that arised from Urashi. "He is using the gates," realized Jiraiya. Urashi charged at Jiraiya. What came next was almost impossible to see for untrained. Both combatants moved at terrific speeds, attacking each other without mercy. The ground trembled, the tress shattered and the waves created by the blows were heard in kilometers around. Urashi was a bit faster than Jiraiya, but the Toad Sage had the advantage of the regenerative properties of the Sage mode. In fact, Urashi was getting more damage than Jiraiya with each blow he delivered. His objective was to keep the Sage busy until he spent the nature chakra he had. But Jiraiya was not a legendary ninja for nothing and he realized Urashi's plan. "I'll use my remaining chakra with this attack," thought. Jiraiya charged at Urashi, gathering chakra on his hand. "Take this. Ultimate Odama Rasengan," exclaimed Jiraiya, creating a Rasengan as big as him. Arashi would have been caught by the attack if Kushina didn't switch him with a log from the destroyed trees using the Kawarimi. Shit, he escaped. What the hell I'm thinking? I almost killed him. What I would have said to Naruto if he didn't escape. Thought Jiraiya now without Sage Mode. Seeing that Jiraiya used up the Sage Mode, he closed the gates. You almost got me, but I think it is a very preposterous calling Ultimate an oversized version of the regular and incomplete Rasengan. I'll show you something Naruto taught me in the future. He managed to find a way to use it safely without the Sage Mode, said Arashi, creating 3 clones. Naruto using the Sage Mode? Thought Jiraiya, surprised. One of the clones grabbed Arashi's right arm while the other 2 began to mold chakra in a familiar. Jiraiya never saw the jutsu in the future but heard how Naruto created it and used it to defeat Kakuzu. He could feel the enormous quantity of chakra used in the whizzing sound caused by the wind. The clones ended to mold the chakra while the clone who was grabbing Arashi's arm during the process released it. Arashi was now holding over his head an oversized Rasengan with a shuriken shape. It's the Rasen Shuriken, exclaimed Jiraiya. Arashi threw the jutsu at Jiraiya's side, causing a small cut on his cheek. The chakra shuriken made impact on a molecule. Jiraiya looked with a mixture of horror and fascination how the molecule was reduced to dust, leaving a crater on his place. If he used that thing against me, I would have been obliterated, no matter if I had the Sage Mode activated. Nor Tsunade with her regeneration technique would have survived that, thought Jiraiya. That's a true Rasengan, said Arashi. Jiraiya didn't reply him. The sage noticed that the clone that has been grabbing Arashi's arm moved his own arms like they were numb. So that's how you do it, said Jiraiya. You use the 3rd clone to refocus the chakra in your right arm so you wouldn't have it damaged. I bet that it even makes the jutsu easier to perform. Very observant. Yes, the 3rd clone is to prevent damage on my arm. Naruto always found the way to resolve any problem just adding clones, said Arashi. I'm surprised that he taught that technique to a complete stranger, said Jiraiya. That's not the only technique he taught me, we exchanged some techniques. I was not the only benefited from that, said Arashi. The masked ninja showed Jiraiya another technique from the future Naruto, although it didn't work as expected. Uzumaki, let's call some friends to our fight, said Arashi while he performed some hand signs that Jiraiya recognized. He is going to make a summon, thought Jiraiya, performing the same hand signs. Jiraiya managed to finish the hand signs at the same time as Arashi thanks to his familiarity with the technique. Kushios no Jutsu, exclaimed them at the same time while they slammed their hands in the ground. There were 2 huge explosions of smoke. When the smoke disappeared, Arashi was on Gamabunda's head while Jiraiya was on Blue Toad with 2 katanas as big as Gamabunda. You? But that's impossible, exclaimed Jiraiya looking at the boss. Both Toads took their summoners and put them on the ground. Jiraiya, Arashi, you know the rules. Toad summoners won't use us to fight against each other. You must resolve your differences with your own power, said Gamabunda while the other Toad. How can he be a Toad summoner? I'm the one who holds the contract, exclaimed Jiraiya. That's something that you will have to discuss with Arashi. Next time summon when you really need, if you survive, said Gamabunda with a smirk before puffing out with the other Toad. Jiraiya took the Toad contract scroll and opened it. He looked at the last names in the contract, they were Minato's and his. There was no Arashi Uzumaki anywhere. Then he realized it. The Arashi name. He reminded the visit he made to Minato a week after he became his student was complaining about how boring and tedious was the Hokage job and commented that he was thinking about creating a second identity in order to assign some missions to himself. He would call himself Arashi Kazama. It couldn't be. But it explained everything. Why the Sundaime let him adopt Naruto. Why Tsunade didn't do anything about it. Why he knew the Rasengan. Why Naruto seemed so happy with him. Why he cared so much for the boy. Why he was so angry with him. Jiraiya looked at Arashi trembling. Minato? It's that you? Babbled. Really, you thought that you were the only one who resurrected and came back in time, sensei, said an angry Minato taking off his mask. Jiraiya looked at Arashi trembling. Minato? It's that you? Babbled. Really, you thought that you were the only one who resurrected and came back in time, sensei, said an angry Minato taking off his mask. In a yellow flash, Minato was in front of Jiraiya, dissipating any doubts the Toad Sage had left about Arashi's identity. Minato. Why, you are alive, babbled. Yes, I am, traitor, exclaimed Minato punching Jiraiya in the face, knocking him. A furious Minato headed to Jiraiya. It was time to tell his sensei how angry he really was. With Tsunade, Naruto and Shizune, Tsunade looked at the blonde boy, who was playing with Tauntaun. It's still early to go to bed. Why don't we go to the casino to pass time while your dad and Jiraiya are having a talk? Proposed her. Tsunade-sama. We have been working very hard as medics to pay off your gambling debts. Are you going to bankrupt yourself again? Protested Shizune, concerned. Don't worry, Shizune, I'll only spend what I have in my wallet, not our travel funds. I won't loan money from anybody. Anyways, I feel that I will have a lucky streak this night, responded Tsunade. Are we going to visit a casino? Dad said that they are places which main purpose is to make fools dilapidate their hard-earned money and I should be away from them, said Naruto. Shizune nodded at his words while Tsunade acted like they were not referring to her. Don't worry, we won't be there for broke ourselves. We are going to be there just to pass time, insisted Tsunade, dragging Naruto outside while a reluctant Shizune with Tonton followed them. They headed to the leisure part of the town. This is the best casino in town, we were there before, said Tsunade, pointing to a building. Naruto, curious as always, rushed inside the building. This is a casino? I thought something different. Why are those women taking off their clothes? Asked Naruto, confused. This is not the casino, you got into the cabaret that is adjacent to it, said Tsunade, getting into the local with a blushing Shizune. A man got near the women. You must be the new girls. Not bad, you will make a good career there, said while he looked at them with an scutrined and lecherous eye. Tsunade's eye twitched. Was that man thinking what she was thinking? But first I will have to make a little test to you, but I think that you will pass it with flying colors, especially you, the blonde one. With this equipment you will be able to collect a lot of cash, said the man, putting a bill in Tsunade's cleavage. Croc. The man was sent to the other side of the town by the most terrifying kick in the balls ever seen. The other clients of the place looked horrified at Tsunade and left the place. Tsunade took the bill from her cleavage and gave it to Naruto. Here, take it, now you have money to spend in the casino, said to the impressed boy while they left the cabaret and headed to the real casino. The manager of the casino recognized the legendary sucker getting into the local and told the employees to prepare the red carpet and the best sake for their prized customer while he rubbed his hands. It looked he could buy that new panoramic TV earlier than he thought. Tsunade-sama. It's good to see you again. Do you want to try our new giant slot machine? It can give a 200,000 Ryo prize, said the man. He noticed Naruto, who was apart looking at the machines with mild interest. What a cute kid. It's yours? Asked. Tsunade looked at Naruto with bittersweet smile. No, he isn't, although I'd love to become his mother, but he already has a parent. I'm just taking care of him for a while. I suppose that there is not problem with his presence here, isn't it? Asked Tsunade. Shizune looked sadly at her sensei, reminding a conversation they had while they were working to pay for her debts, after Tsunade told her about the future. Flashback. Tsunade-sama, why are we going from client to client for paying the debts? Wouldn't it be better if we return to Konoha, become Hokage and pay the debts with your salary, using the treasury as guarantee for your creditors? Asked Shizune. Yes, I also thought about that. But Konoha's laws are very clear, an indebted person is not allowed to adopt a child. It would take me a pair of years to pay for the debts with a Hokage's salary. At that time he would be already a ninja and an adult by Konoha's laws. Working as a freelance medic for rich people, choosing my price will allow me to do it in a pair of months, responded Tsunade to a puzzled Shizune. And flashback. Sensei, you wanted to be Naruto's mother and prepare him for the incoming danger. But with Minato-sama coming back too, it won't be possible, thought Shizune, looking at Tsunade. An annoying sound interrupted her thoughts. He saw that one of the slot machines hit the jackpot. Hey, look, I won, exclaimed Naruto, excited while he took the prize money from the machine. Congratulations, Naruto. You should store 3/4 of the earned money and don't touch it, use the rest for play and try to win more, said Tsunade, smiling to the boy. Shizune's sweat dropped. If she followed her own advice instead of risking all her money and losing it whenever she won anything, we would be rich, thought. Do you know a more interesting game? The slot machines are very passive, you just watch the fruits hoping that they would align and it gets boring quickly, said Naruto. There's a very interesting game that doesn't depend solely on the player's luck but also on their ability playing it. It's named poker, suggested Tsunade. Okay, can you explain me how to play? Asked Naruto. Shizune looked how Tsunade put a hand on Naruto's shoulder and took him to an empty poker table to explain him the game. Well, I think that it will be better if he keeps with his father, he wouldn't try to turn him into a gambling addict, thought. After a brief explanation of the rules, the blondes headed to one of the occupied poker tables. Tsunade and Naruto formed a team and started to play. To Shizune and the manager's surprise, they won the first game and the second and the third. Soon a crowd formed around the poker table. Those who knew about the legendary sucker saw how she and partner beat all their opponents. It was obvious that Naruto had little idea of poker because he was constantly asking what hand was better whenever they showed them. Most times were his. Still, the biggest surprise was that Tsunade was also winning a lot of cash. The truth was that Tsunade was one of the best poker players in the world. She was very good hiding her emotions and knew when to take risk with a hand. However, her problem was that her luck was almost non-existent. Usually when cards were drawn she ended with low-numbered cards and without any pair, so he dropped and lost the initial bet, and whenever it looked that she had a good hand, her opponents happened to have a better one. But now it looked like luck was on her side, to their opponents' sorrow. Tsunade herself couldn't believe her luck. Usually whenever she was lucky it was a sign of something bad about to happen. After thinking about it, she realized that it was because Madara traveled in time too, messing with the plans she prepared for the future, thinking that she was the only one who traveled back. Well, if the danger will come to them, at least it will find them with their pockets filled with money. The manager at first thought that they were cheating, but the ninja disguised as civilians who were hired in order to find cheaters made him a signal pointing that they were not cheating, or perhaps they were using a new teaching method that they didn't find out. Nothing surprising taking account that she was also a very skilled ninja. The manager now looked nervous. Lucky streaks like that were impossible, they had to be cheating. Whenever things like that happened, they just took the lucky bastards to a special room where they would find out how they won, and then taking them to the authorities of the town, who didn't care how they got the confession, who would sentence them to forced labor for cheating. The problem was that Tsunade was known not only as the legendary sucker but also as the Slug Sannin, the most powerful kunoichi in Konoha's story and probably the most powerful in the world. His thoughts were interrupted by some sounds that seemed to come outside town. Moments later they heard a tremendous buzzing sound. It must Jiraiya and Minato's fight, thought Tsunade. I think that they are going to need my services very soon. We'll better go back to the inn where they could find us. It's a pity, I was making a lot of money. Tsunade decided to leave the place to the manager's relief and took Naruto back to the inn. Tsunade-san, are you going to go back to Konoha and be Hokage again? Asked Naruto. Yes. It was my original plan, but now with your father and Jiraiya back it won't be necessary. I have no intentions to take that hat again. It's an awful job, said Tsunade. What? Why don't you want to be Hokage? You did it in the future, exclaimed Naruto. Yes, I did, but only because I lost a bet with your future self, responded Tsunade, forming a plan in her mind. Then let's do it again. I challenge you, if I win you will come back to Konoha, said Naruto. Okay. But if I win I'll take your profits from this night, and because I'm the one who was challenged I can choose the bet. Has your father initiated you with the Rasengan? Asked Tsunade. Naruto nodded. Excellent. Here's the bet, if you manage to perform a Rasengan in a week I will come back to Konoha, if not, you will give me all your money, said Tsunade. Okay, said Naruto. Her jaw dropped when she saw how he formed a Rasengan with a single hand, without clones. Okay, I won. Now you will come back to Konoha, said Naruto. Wait a minute. Let's make another bet, if you win I will get back to Konoha and you'll get the money I earned, deal? Proposed Tsunade. Fine, said Naruto, a bit annoyed. Meanwhile in Konoha, Sasuke and Neji sneezed at the same time. Okay, let's see who is better in poker, said Tsunade, taking the cards, hoping that the luck she was having that day and her experience would make her beat the inexpert boy. Shizune saw how her sensei got her usual luck back. With Minato and Jiraiya at the moment, Minato revealed himself to Jiraiya. The Toad Sage lost all his will to fight and was doing nothing to defend himself from the beating he was receiving from his former student. Why? Exclaimed Minato, punching Jiraiya in the gut. Jiraiya said nothing, infuriating Minato even more. Why? Asked Minato, punching him in the face. Jiraiya said nothing again. Why did you abandon my son? Your own godson, exclaimed Minato, breaking Jiraiya's nose with a punch. The beaten Jiraiya looked at Minato with the eyes and finally spoke. I was broken-hearted after you died. I couldn't look at the boy without seeing you in him. It was very painful. When I left Konoha afterwards I thought that it was the best for him. I was creating my spy network and it required a lot of travels. I said to myself that leaving him in Konoha would give him a better chance to make friends. But the truth was that I said before, I couldn't look at him without thinking about you. I did the same as Tsunade when Dan died and abandoned what reminding her about him, babbled Jiraiya with tears forming on his eyes. Minato looked at him angry. Leaving in Konoha was the best for him? He reminded you about me, but for the villagers he reminded them about the QB sealed on him, for that reason they didn't want him near them. Do you know about the hell he had to pass with only the Hokage and a few ones caring for him in a village who dispissed him? Without anybody to help him at home with the academy lessons and becoming the worst student of his class? With parents telling their children to keep away from him? Living alone without nobody to greet him when he is back home or comfort him when he has a nightmare? Do you know about it? Asked Minato. Why yes, I know about it. He told me about it during our training trip. If I knew about it, I would have came and take him away from Konoha. You don't know how I regret about it, said Jiraiya kneeling before Minato. Yes, but you didn't. You could have checked about him at least once in a year, but you didn't. Or at least you could have sent him occasional letters. That gesture would have made him very happy, thinking that there was somebody who didn't thought bad about him. He was so socially isolated that he couldn't find out about the girl who liked him, and in the future he considered a traitor as Sasuke his best friend, exclaimed Minato, grabbing Jiraiya by the collar. I, babbled Jiraiya. Do you know what happened when I told his future self that you were his godfather? Do you want to know it? Asked Minato. And no, said Jiraiya. He cried. But not because he thought you abandoned him. He cried because he regretted not calling you dad during the time he was with you, said Minato sadly. What? Asked Jiraiya, surprised. He didn't hate you. He considered you the closest thing he had to a father and a family. Do you know how jealous I was to you when I saw the face he had when he was talking about you? He said that he was very lucky for having somebody like you as his father figure, said Minato. Jiraiya now had tears on his eyes. He was completely overwhelmed by Minato's words. The future Naruto, the boy he abandoned during his childhood and later trained during his early teens, didn't hate him and thought about him as a father. How could he thought about me like that after what I did to him? Babbled Jiraiya in disbelief. Minato looked furious at Jiraiya for not realizing how much Naruto loved him in the future. I don't find strange that he thought about you as a good father. For that reason I trusted you to take care of him. You were an excellent father for me, exclaimed Minato without thinking. Both men were frozen at Minato's own words. Minato, said Jiraiya. Min-kun, said Kushina. Minato was trying to assume his words. That's the reason why I am so angry with him? Because I considered Jiraiya as a father and for that reason I pained me more when he left him? Thought Minato with tears forming on his eyes. Minato. Said Jiraiya, putting a hand on Minato's shoulder. Don't touch me, exclaimed Minato, pushing Jiraiya. The Sannin fell to the ground, 2 packages slipped from his pouch. Minato realized that Jiraiya only wanted to comfort him. Sorry, sensei. Forget about I told you, said Minato, helping him to get up. Minato, I must confess something to you too. I always considered Naruto as the grandson I never had. You don't know how happy I was with him. The years I was with him were the best ones I had after I lost you, said Jiraiya with a slight smile. Then you should be really proud of him. He became a worthy successor for the title of Dode Sage. After your death he trained with Fukasaku in the Sage Arts, said Minato. Really? How did he handle it? Asked Jiraiya. According to what they told me, Naruto was able to use the Sage mode in less than 2 weeks. Not only that, but he also surpassed you using it. He mastered it to a point where the only Dode features he got in Sage mode were toad-like eyes with red marks around them. No warts, no funny nose, no beard. He also found a way to do it without taking Pa and Ma on his shoulders. No wonder he managed to defeat Pain when he invaded Konoha, weeks after your death, said Minato proudly. He managed to surpass me and defeat Pain? Asked Jiraiya, surprised again. Yes, but that's not the most important thing. After his victory Nagato and him had a talk. I don't know much about what they talked about, but at the end Nagato sacrificed himself to revive those he killed when he invaded Konoha, acknowledging Naruto as the child of the prophecy and asking him to change the world, said Minato. He saved Nagato from the darkness? Asked Jiraiya. Yes, he did. After that Konoha finally considered him the hero I wanted him to be seen. Naruto told me that he would never had mastered the Sage if he didn't travel with you during those years. The meditation techniques that at first he thought useless and the chakra release you did with the seal let him meet the requirements for the Sage training, while the training for controlling the Kyuubi's chakra made him very good controlling foreign chakra sources, letting him master the Sage mode at that level so quickly. He is not different in this timeline. He doesn't cease to amaze me with his progress, said Minato. Both men didn't say nothing for a few seconds while they thought about the Naruto from the future and the one from the present. Kushina didn't say anything, but Minato could feel the motherly pride she was radiating. Minato noticed the packages that Jiraiya dropped and took them. What is this? Asked Minato while he unwrapped one. It's a book I have been writing since I came back from the future. The other is a gift for him, said Jiraiya. What? This is the reason because you didn't come back to Konoha for Naruto? You were writing more porn? Exclaimed Minato, looking furious at Jiraiya. And no. It's not that, said Jiraiya. Wait. Look at the cover, Min-kun, said Kushina. Minato looked at the title of the book. It was named Naruto Uzumaki's Tale. He opened it and slipped the pages. It's a biography about Naruto. He wrote about our son, thought Minato, touched. What is in the other package? Asked Kushina. Minato gave back the book to Jiraiya and unwrapped the other package. It contained a black and orange jumpsuit. Kushina noticed that it was a smaller version of the one that Jiraiya gave to Naruto in the future. Minato wrapped again the package and gave it back to Jiraiya. We should go back to the inn. I have to introduce you better to your grandson, said Minato. When they arrived at the hotel they found Naruto and Tsunade playing poker, with Naruto having a big pile of money at his side and Tsunade thinking about offering her clothes in another bet. She dismissed it when she saw the men getting into the room and gave up. Okay, brat, I'll go back to Konoha, said, dropping the cards. If it was not enough to make her day, she had to spend the rest of the night healing Jiraiya and fixing his face.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.